All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Make Your Mark. I'm your host, Michael Carabio, and today we're going to be talking about the 12-week year. And now this is something that the foundation is built on a book that was published in 2013, and essentially it's a system to achieve your goals a lot quicker than a year and sum them down to 12 weeks, right? So we can be more productive. But this is something that our sales team here at Landmark has been implementing over the past couple years now. I know personally, I mean, one of the brokerages that I partner with implement this same system and just kind of use it a little bit differently. I know other brokerages that use it, and especially know top producing agents in our industry that solely use the foundation of this book to achieve really big things. And so I know it works. It's worked for me personally and professionally. And I'm really excited for this one because it's so simple. It's a simple protocol, and if you apply it, this will definitely change the way that you operate every single day. But one thing is for sure, just because it's simple doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. And we all know this. Um, Being really intentional about this process can be really challenging because it's new, and honestly it's a lot of work. But if you stick to it for the full 90 days, 12 weeks, you will start to see something bigger for yourself and for your business. So, with that being said, I am going to throw the book on here. You can go ahead and scan the QR code if you would like. It'll take you to the book itself. This is what the book looks like, but through the QR code, I have attached the field guide, and that's the one that our team works out of. And it's really good, very. Descriptive on like it's a workbook basically, so it's very descriptive on what you need to do and what needs to be done. But essentially, for as we head into 2026, everyone is talking about the goals, right? I know a lot of I've seen a lot of things on social media where agents are starting to do their vision boards, and they're starting to map out what next year looks like. But the truth is that the goals alone don't really change your life. What really does is the systems that you create really do that. And so most people write goals in January, and then they don't take action until, the middle of the year or even around November, right? They're trying to play crunch time when they could have gotten so much farther if they just used something like this. So before we get into the 12-week year, I do want to share something that I personally implement, and it's just the framework and the structure of how I achieve my goals, and they're through categories, right? And this isn't based off of the 12-week year, but for me, it's my power, purpose, and profits. These are the three deposits that I like to tie into my goal setting. And so the first one is the power deposit, which is essentially it's something to start my day off powerfully with a physical aspect, right? A workout, my health. This could be, for me, it's lifting every single morning or going on a run right now, training for a marathon. And then, or it could be a walk, it could be yoga, whatever it is best suits you. 30 minutes to an hour typically does the trick, and you know, it helps you start the day off right. The next deposit is the purpose, and this is who you are trying to become. So, when we talk about your purpose, it could be within your faith, it could be within your mindset, your personal development. For me, it's becoming a better man, a better father, and a better leader. And so, this is ultimately what keeps me grounded, and this is what my purpose deposit is. And so, when I'm talking about this, this could be reading a book, listening to an audiobook, a podcast. There's so much information out there that we could digest to really get the needle moving. And the last one is my profits. This is ultimately for your business. And so this is anything from marketing systems, lead generation, um, uh, you know, escrows, skills you're developing that just help you ultimately grow the business, something just learning something new for your business, right? That helps you grow more income. And and I organize these three buckets just so I can find balance and stay focused. And that way, I start my day off like this. And that way, so whatever gets thrown at me throughout the day, I know that I can ultimately get through it, right? Um, and so that's just my quick share. But while we talk about the 12-week year, let's talk about goals, right? We all set them, but only a few execute. Like back then, I would set yearly goals, and I think, five times or one out of five times throughout the year, I achieved every single thing. And it's just because a year is just so long for us to really figure out what we really want. And so, especially if we have, 10 to 20 goals lined up. The whole concept of the 12-week year is uh, keep it simple. Instead of giving yourself 12 months to hit a goal, you're going to give yourself 12 weeks. Why? Because when the year is short, you don't have time to waste. You get to operate with more urgency, more focus, and it's just going to allow you to execute at a very high level. And that's exactly what it is. It's a year compressed into 12 months. Three reasons why the system works is you get more focus. And when we're talking about the goals that we're setting for the 12 weeks, we really focus on 1 to 3 goals, right? And so if it's just for your business, 1 to 3 goals, I try to talking about my three buckets, my power, purpose, and profits. I try to still implement a goal within each category. And, as you get older and get better every single day, you start learning that you're going through a different season where you're going to need to focus more on maybe your personal development rather than your power, your fitness. And so right now I've been pouring very heavily into my power deposits because, like I said, I was training for a marathon and it's very time consuming, right? And so there will be a season where, um, that alternates and my focus will be somewhere else. Urgency. This allows you to create urgency within your business, within the goals that you're setting because you don't want to waste time. And there's execution because of the weekly scoreboards that we do that are ultimately going to keep you accountable. Now, sorry about that. Got a nice little message. So the vision, right? It's really important to understand who we are becoming within these 12 weeks. And so when we think about the goals that we want, we need to really see who we are trying to become. And so a few questions that you can ultimately really ask yourself for creating the person that you want to become is what do I want to look like or feel like 12 weeks from now? How do I want to feel? What kind of father, husband, leader, mother do I want to be? How many escrows or closings do I want by the end of the 12 weeks? What skills do I want sharpened? And what habits do I want locked in? Choose goals that matter to you and choose to move your life forward. Excuse me, I am everywhere right now. Here are some examples for your profits. And so, um, if you want 8 new escrows by the 12 weeks, you're going to need to have at least 5 meetings a week. And that means you're going to ultimately have to make at least over 100 calls, right? But if we're talking weekly, maybe it's, um, 50 calls a day, or not 50 calls a day, 15 calls a day. And then over that week, you'll average about 100 calls throughout the week. And so it's really just being more intentional about what we really want and how we stack our days. Simplify your goals, amplify your results. Uh, your goals need to be measurable and they must impact your income, right? We need to really focus on the money making activities that are really going to drive that needle for you to actually grow your business and sustain it. And you need to be realistic. You need to be able to achieve these goals within the 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks is really not a lot of time, but it's just the perfect amount to get us to where we really need to be. And of course, I just talked about this. You need to connect your vision to your planning. So what's the weekly planning look like? This is going to ultimately look like creating tactics that are associated with your goals that help you complete your weekly actions. These tactics are ultimately going to replace the guesswork that you have within achieving your goals. And so, um, being very intentional, right? They're the action items. So if we want that escrow, we need to call, text a certain amount of people to get to that one escrow, right? We already know that there is a lot of no's when in sales or when we're trying to lead generate. And so that's why it's really important to not only set the standard, but really keep that number pretty high to achieve that goal. Um, Consistency beats intensity every single day, right? And it's not about doing more, but it's about really putting in smaller deposits over time within these 12 weeks. So that way we can achieve the goal that we're wanting. Build tactics that you can repeat each week and focus on, again, producing activities, income activities. Goals are the destination and tactics are the vehicle. So here are some examples of the tactics that you can have. Let's just say you want, 5 escrows by the end of the 12 weeks. You need 10 conversations a day. I would probably up the ante a little bit. 3 to 5 coffee meetings a week. And I would say like when you're coming up with these tactics, it's not so much a range, it's more about a one set number. So 15 conversations, 5 coffee meetings a week, uh 5 reels posts a week, 15 follow-ups, weekly MLS research for deals that you're putting out to your potential buyers, a weekly market update or newsletter, one open house per week, creating weekly content, and then 3 training sessions for your power goal. These tactics must connect directly to the goal. If you hit your tactics, you will definitely hit your goals for sure. Let's talk about the scoreboard. Your scoreboard will ultimately expose the truth. It's like saying, the numbers don't lie. If you don't track it, though, you definitely repeat the same cycle that you're already in over and over again, and that's why it's really important to um, create these good habits. one of the books that I'm read or listening to right now in the gym that really has me thinking about not only this, but just habits in general is the Atomic Habits book. Um, I told myself I was going to listen to it before the new year just so I can really start fresh and just get my mind right for right now, but also to start the new year strong. But it's been a great listen, that one. And then there's another book called The Mountain Is You. I think it's by Brianna West. I highly recommend that one as well. But for the scoreboard is what's going to keep you honest. You're going to list your weekly tactics, and you're ultimately going to be honest if you hit those tactics or not, right? And then at the end, you're going to give yourself a score, okay? And that score, we're aiming for about an 80 to 85% execution score because anything below that is ultimately not helping us move forward in our business. And ultimately, what we're trying to do here is create a better system, be systematically operational in how we are lead generating, producing marketing, talking to our clients. Like, this is ultimately what the big businesses are able to do at a very high level. Of course, because they have the leverage, they have the manpower to do it and the money. But if we don't have that, what we have is our sweat equity. And so we got to make sure that we're executing at a very, very high level. Results are predictable when your behaviors are consistent. Okay. One thing is certain. We all get busy, but busy doesn't mean that we're productive. Okay. And sometimes, you know, we associate motion, doing things as productivity, but it's really not, especially if it's not within our tactics, if it's not within our goals. And so what we really want to do is we want to stay intentional and do the action items that are ultimately going to move the needle. And I'm only bringing this up because I know I personally struggle with this. I know many agents that struggle with this because you get a phone call about a deal that's about to fall through. You have a client that needs this done, but sometimes a lot of these things can wait for a specific time in our day where we can be more productive, at least in the beginning portion of it. What is motion? It's planning, it's researching, it's organizing your CRM. Maybe it's editing a video. Uh, One thing I will say, if you have leverage, I would definitely outsource a lot of these tedious things like video editing that could take so much time. Go on Fiverr, you could find someone to edit your videos. Watching training videos, right? Providing more profits, deposits to your business. And then maybe emotion is calling a lead, right? Motion feels good, but it moves nothing. The actions are calling leads, asking for appointments, following up, posting the content, pricing listings correctly, reaching out to past clients, and actually scheduling meetings and consultations. Action is what is going to grow your business. It's going to get you paid, and it's going to help you build so much more confidence. All right, so what is the grading system and how does it work? Uh, it's really a report card, right? Like I said, you're going to grade yourself at the end of the week. You're gonna grade yourself every week, right? And you're gonna reset your goals for that week, for the next week, once the week ends. So you're gonna review your wins, you're gonna review your losses, and you're going to adjust your tactics based on your efforts. So maybe 10 calls was too much for you. You couldn't handle it. Maybe it's got to be 7, right? Uh, it's going to help you improve your consistency and help you build momentum weekly. And if you're like, okay, how do I do this? What do I do? Like I said, I highly recommend you go buy the book because it's very, the workbook, it's just, plug and play. It's so easy when you actually have it. I know that you could probably Google the grading system as well, and you could probably print out a paper to get exactly what I'm referring to. But today I'm just solely talking about the 12-week year because I want you guys to maybe try something new if you haven't done so. Use this system or this book already. Okay, so what does this look like? It's real practical application, honestly. It's nothing that you don't already know. It's really just breaking it all down and doing things at a more uh, doing things with more proximity, right? Something that's a lot more closer. I would say that a lot of us set goals, too many goals throughout the year. And when we just set one or two for that 12 weeks, it's so much easier to actually build momentum throughout the year. And so that's exactly what this is. This isn't a theory, it's really just to help you get to where you need to be. And so here's some growth ideas or growth, um, I would say. Uh, some of the subjects that you are or categories, excuse me, that you'll experience within growth within your brand. So if you're posting 5 days a week for 12 weeks, you're going to see more engagement, you're going to have more conversations, and you're ultimately going to generate more leads for your pipeline. If you have 10 conversations a day, 50 to 70 a week, and you're going to ultimately hit about anywhere from 600 to 800 people in conversations. That's probably way more than you would have throughout the year if you were just able to, be more intentional. Uh, Listings, if you're sending out weekly market updates, weekly seller touches, if you're doing weekly CMAs for your past clients and you're sending them out to your sellers, you're ultimately going to get more listings opportunities, and it's just another trick in the hat for you to get more deals done. For buyers, uh, follow-ups, having time blocks for follow-ups. Same thing with consultations. Um, of course, content that's targeting buyers or maybe first-time home buyers uh, will ultimately fool your pipeline. And of course, this system works because it's all about intentionality. Now, let's be real. This only works if you do, right? If you put in the work. So there are no shortcuts, there are no magic tricks. Ultimately, I know the agents that do use this, and when I use this very religiously, um, I'm so busy, right? It's not to make you feel less busy, it's to make you feel more productive, right? Because we're actually targeting to hit your goals within that year, within the 12 weeks instead of that year. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take you creating newer habits and with really hard consistency and discipline. Um, and like I said, when discipline, it's all about when you don't want to do it is exactly when you do it, and you're going to show up daily to create the system. Now, with that being said, that's the sum of the 12-week year. And if you need more information on what this looks like, or if you want a breakdown of maybe some goals that you can implement for 2026, you can always reach out to myself or our wonderful sales team here that just continues to support all of our agent partners. We're always here, and most of us, everyone on this list, Beth, Keith, Mary, Megan, myself, Patty, Renee, Ray, Lynn, are also utilizing the 12-week year. So it's nothing new to us. I highly recommend that you jump on board and maybe you get some accountability from one of us. If you ask, you will receive. I promise you, we can always get the ball rolling and making sure that you guys are up to par with hitting your goals for 2026. I just want to give last quick shout out to everyone here at Landmark that continues to work hard for our clients. And I want to thank you for every agent, lender, partner in our businesses that just help drive our business forward. Um, if you haven't had the opportunity to work with us yet here at Landmark, we would love for you to send us your next escrow. We are fully committed and we are your dedicated closing team. Till next time, I will see you next week for the next episode of Make Your Mark. Have a good one.